Hello, welcome to the Motorsport Review. I am once again your host, Perry Brown, and here to talk about the Hungarian Grand Prix. It was a thrilling race, and I hope you all enjoyed it at home. And someone that I know did is here to talk with me, maybe not towards the end as a bit of a Piastri fan. I say a bit of a Piastri fan. He named his dog after Oscar Piastri. So it's Oscar Piastri's dad. It's Brendon. How are you doing?
After Hungary, I'm about to have a 3-week hibernation. I feel like that's the worst possible start to my F1 summer break. I just hope that Oscar can come back and, start as if it was lap one again.
Yes, we will talk about that lap one. And as I said, for 50 laps or so of that race, it was looking really good. So hopefully I'm going to find some silver linings in this for you. And I think it's worth saying, as I say, you're a Piastri fan / McLaren fan. I normally say I'm completely neutral, as is the position of a podcast host. But I've got a bit of a confession. If you've been listening along, I might be a McLaren fan. I've let it show a little bit. I've got the hats out. I've got the Formula E. I've even gone as far as getting the flag. That may come up. That may feature when we talk about some of the battling that happened. But before we get into that, I've got one bit of news that broke Sunday morning, so yesterday morning, and that was the return of the Bahrain Grand Prix.
I'm a bit confused with the naming, but when somebody said it's just the same as any other sponsor naming, so like the Louis Vuitton Grand Prix or blah blah blah, it's just Bahrain sponsoring the Malaysian Grand Prix, and then everything clicked in my head. I still think it's confusing for fans, but I sort of understand why it's named that, considering the investment.
Absolutely, they're putting up the funding for it, and Sepang looks ready. I can't remember whether you were a fan back in 2017, whether you were watching back then. That was the last time there was actually I was going to say a Malaysian Grand Prix. It's still not a Malaysian Grand Prix. A race at Sepang, and it's a phenomenal circuit. I think every comment, everything I saw, we're so excited to have racing back there. So I'm guessing you're much the same. You must have raced it on simulators. You must have watched some of those races before. And must be
I actually, I watched F1 when I was a kid, and I remember, I think it was Australia, like the close, I just remember the barriers either side, and like, I don't know, my earliest memories was Michael Schumacher. So like, since, and this is a confession here, what got me back into F1 was Drive to Survive. So I actually haven't seen Sepang before, so I did my homework when it got announced. I was watching a couple of the races and seeing that Verstappen won there on his birthday as well. And yeah, it was pretty cool to watch the track and see all the corners and stuff. It's going to be interesting, the energy management as well. Because I guess it's so different there now with the new cars.
It's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Every track we go to, we have to think, how are the cars going to react to the track, rather than just rocking up at one of the world's best tracks and enjoying F1 and racing.
Yeah, just let it rip.
So, I mean, I had a DVD. So when the old 2002 F1 game came out, it came out with a 2001 season review. And I remember taking this to school and doing a full report on the 2001 Malaysian Grand Prix, because of how much it rained. And my dad happened to have a rain tyre that I brought in as well, and said, oh, these tyres dissipate this much water. And really nerdy.
That's so cool. That's amazing.
It wasn't back then, Brendon. Back then, before Drive to Survive, I wasn't cool. So there I was in school, people going, oh, the F1 fans here, he's brought his tyre. It wasn't cool at all. But now it would be. Now it'd be like, oh, you're the man. But
yeah, and now they're all there, and they're like, oh, that Perry guy was onto something.
Maybe I'll will it back out and get the video back going. But yeah, 2001 was a washout, absolute washout. But it's a brilliant race to go back and watch. So it'll be interesting to see whether they manage to avoid a monsoon or if it's a wet race. I'm sure whatever happens, it's going to be thrilling. I am going to start with the second bit of news that everyone was talking to going into Hungary: the arrival of the AMR 26B. Everyone was talking about it. As soon as the cars arrived, as soon as the garage doors opened, there were cameras outside the Aston Martin garage. What can we see? What can we make of the car? It's like, nothing. They haven't built it yet. What can we see? What can we see? Well, they're still wearing green. And it's like, just wait until that day when they bring the cars out of the garage. And boy,
and one of my favorite bits as well, I'm sure you've probably seen the post, was the FIA released with annotations everywhere, all the different changes that had actually been made. And I've always, I think since 2022, when we had the new regs come in, since they released that Aston Martin in that new livery that was amazing, I've always been like, oh, wouldn't that car look so great if it was winning? Like, it'd be one of the best looking ones on the grid, I think. I just love the green with like the stripe through it, like so nice. But it's good to see them actually doing a bit better again.
Yes, that's what I was going to get to, because I said last week in our Belgian Grand Prix review, I said maybe they'll be closer to Cadillac, but boy, was I wrong, and in a very good way. So, I mean, I never read anything into practice times. I mean, McLaren were 13th and 16th, I think it was, in FP1, and already the comments were saying, oh, they're washed, right? Time for the summer break. Well, again, we'll talk about it later. They weren't washed at all. So I didn't pay any attention to how they did. What I was looking for and keen to watch was qualifying. This was the big test.
Yeah.
It passed. I mean, the first time Alonso got out of Q1 and Stroll wasn't even at the back of the grid, he got ahead of the Cadillac. So, I mean, big tick, right? It passed the test. It got out of Q1.
I also think as well, at the end of or beginning of Q2, I think they sent out Alonso too early. I think if they sent him out with the rest of the cars as well, I don't think he would have finished there. It was P15, right? Or P16 that he finished. I think he would have done better.
Yeah, they sent him out very early. Part of me was like, is that for the sponsors to say, look, we're here, we're in Q2. Like used to be like the glory run with like the years of like Prost Grand Prix and things like that. They send the cars out in qualifying like the first 10 minutes, not because it was the best time, but just purely to get the cameras on them. Yeah, I agree with that. They went early, and it was quite funny hearing Ted Kravitz in the pit lane going, oh, they've got no soft tyres left. And then the car went down the pit lane with brand new tyres. They went, they have. So no, a top effort by them. And I said the only shock of Q2 after that was still seeing an Aston Martin in Q2.
I mean, I'll throw a question back at you, and
please.
I wonder what your answer will be to this. If Alonso was, let's say they had a third car at Mercedes, where do you think Alonso would currently place between him, Russell, and Antonelli? Because I still feel like the old dog has a bark in him.
That's a really good question. Do you know, when Hamilton was off to Ferrari, I was adamant that Alonso was going to get that second seat rather than Antonelli. I thought it was too early for Antonelli. I was a little bit wrong. I admit saying that. Okay, he's all right. He's doing okay now. Obviously, Antonelli's just brilliant, isn't he? And Russell is having a really tough time. It'd be difficult not to say Alonso would be between them.
Yeah.
He was out-qualified by Stroll in the last two races.
He was,
It was difficult to watch that. That was the first time I actually felt maybe Alonso's time's up. And again, don't go back and watch our silly season review, because I also said he's out at that stage. Maybe quickly based on those two results, thinking his time's come. I think
I don't know if you think this about Lewis. Maybe it's the same with Fernando. That when they don't have a powerful car underneath them, I feel like they don't try as hard.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
I don't know how to explain that, but I feel like Lewis gives up way too easy when he hasn't got the right car underneath him. He could probably do better.
Very guilty, aren't they, of going, guys, I think we should retire the car when they get to that magic P11. Points. Especially watching Alonso struggle in his second stint at McLaren. Especially then, it was like, yeah, guys, I think we're out. And they're like, no, we're 16th. We can do something from here. And so it's tough. It's been tough to watch this year.
Yeah.
And agree about the not trying so hard. As soon as he had a car beneath him, he put places between him and Stroll. And even on the Sunday as well, he gave it a really good race. He was really up there fighting, as we'll get to in a bit as well. So yeah, as I said, the old dog's back. You can teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
So we then get to Q3, and I want to transition from talking about Aston Martin to talking about McLaren. So this is going to be a little bit painful. I'm really sorry, but we'll try and massage each other through this bit.
I have my emotional support car with me. It's okay.
Other emotional support cars are available, of course. But it's a good one to have right now. I mean, looking at qualifying, looking at how Q1 and how Q2 had gone, I posted on Friday, I said, it's Norris, pole position. He had about 3 temps on everyone. He didn't quite get that final corner right on his first run. And I thought, oh, he's got 2 temps in that easy when he puts together that second run. And then it all went wild, didn't it? We all thought Hamilton was on pole. The roar from the crowd, you could hear it. I can't remember who they're watching through that final corner, but as Hamilton crossed the line, the roar of Hamilton being on that provisional pole and it not being Norris. I think they were all ready for it to be Hamilton on pole as well. But Verstappen then spins. I mean, were you expecting that? That's a bit of an open question, but I'd been watching Verstappen all weekend, looking at him in that final sector, thinking he is on the very edge of what that car.
He is famous for extracting every single millisecond of lap time out of a car. Like that's his driving style. He will find it where it cannot be found. And I feel like sometimes when you do live on that limit, especially that Hungary final corner, every single person had their rear stepping out there. So that specific corner, no, it's not a surprise that Verstappen on a quali lap, trying to push to get that pole, knowing he needs them few extra tenths. It's not a massive surprise. But for Verstappen, I mean, he's a skilled driver now. He's by no means a rookie. He's a very, very skilled driver. But people get it wrong, right? You know, Lewis had a spin. You know, so many things happened that race. So
they used to say the same about Alonso as well, but just throw it into a corner, like almost regardless of the speed, and then just gather it up. Trust their abilities to gather it up, and it felt like that's what he was doing every lap. And then in a Q3 run, that's where you then go, I'm going to throw it in. I'm going to brake 2 meters later. And just gather up what it throws at me, and unfortunately, just didn't quite get it right.
Didn't stick.
What's Martin Brundle's phrase? Aggression over adhesion, or something? Ambition over adhesion. It felt like,
that's a good phrase. I like that.
I completely stolen and then butchered, but I'll stick to that one in future. But as I say, look, Norris sticks it on pole. Hamilton should have been second. Unfortunately, somehow he'd let Piastri had let him through on his fast lap. Somehow he wasn't made aware by Ferrari that Piastri was then coming through and kind of ruined Piastri's lap. So you're watching that. I'm guessing you're fuming. Or saw it later on social media and fuming at the fact he got blocked.
Well, when I seen it, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like drivers on a lap, I know there's a racing line, but I sometimes feel like they stop too early. Like there's still space. You still go for your lap, whatever. Be mad at the end and say that like they blocked me, but don't just stop. Just keep. If you know it's fully ruined, then yeah. But you know, watching it back a couple of times, he couldn't really brake on the racing line. I think he was looking too far ahead. If he'd have just like broke on the racing line and then come into the corner how he normally would, I don't think they actually would have came together. I think it was more an issue that he was going so slow that he was unpredictable, didn't know where he was going to go, so Oscar can go flat out. But I did love the big thumbs up. The passive aggressive thumbs up is the most I say the most you'll get out of Oscar. We heard a bit more on Sunday, but when he put his thumb up, just like a
well done, mate.
It was a great.
It was good. It's there's a great qualifying session. I think it was, I want to say 2016 Silverstone. Exactly to that point, Hamilton was on provisional pole, and it was one of those days where it's sort of raining, sort of not raining, and he goes through sector 1 and he's 1 second down on his best, so he abandons his lap. Everyone else, Rosberg included, just pushes on, and the final sector is bone dry, and the excitement for the commentators, they're like, it's dry, it's bone dry, and they all go 3 seconds quicker, and Hamilton, because he's abandoned his lap, starts 9th or 10th, I think, on that day. So absolutely spot on. Sometimes they do just give up on the lap. Russell in Austria is another one where you just think, just carry on. It just goes to show, just carry on. But unfortunately, this time, one person who didn't give up on their lap was Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah.
Gets his lap under. Now, again, your thoughts on this, because so many people had a say after Austria. If there's a yellow flag, you should have your lap absolutely deleted, and that should be that. It didn't happen here. Kimi goes through. He's learnt his lesson, but he doesn't quite back off enough. They said that his apex speed was actually higher than on the previous lap. So seeing him get a free place penalty, did you think, oh, that's harsh in comparison, given that he had lifted off before the corner?
You know, I genuinely don't believe that any penalty is harsh if it is consistent, but I don't feel like they're consistent. I don't feel like there's enough consistency with the penalties or like what they actually give people, because I don't know. Let's say Mercedes, for example, know that they could go through now a single wave yellow or a double yellow, not lift, but because they have a fast car, even if they got P1, they'd only start P4. But if their lap got deleted, then they'd be P10. So by giving them a 3-place grid penalty, you're pretty much saying that for the rest of the season, they can just do that, and the worst that will happen is a 3-place. Like, you know what I mean? So all of those cars that did obey the rules and did go, you know, fast, are now going to start behind them because they didn't lift. I don't know.
And the best thing was, as I said, he did lift. He did slow down, and they went, yeah, but. And it's like, but if the rule says you have to show that you lifted, and then you can show you lifted, it's like, how it feels almost opinionated. As you say, you want consistency. You want them to say you have to be at least 50 kilometers an hour slower in the corner, and that be that. It was kind of like, you know, we unfortunately lost Jules Bianchi in that accident because they used to say double yellow, slow down.
Yeah,
I used to watch that and cringe and think, yeah, but whenever I go karting and they say, oh, yellow flag, walking pace, I'm like, yeah, I just walk quicker than everyone else, and I'm basically like half throttle around the track. But that's a bit different when you're in control of a Formula One car with marshals out on track. And I always used to think, this is a mistake waiting to happen. They should say to them, put your pit limiter on. And lo and behold, VSC now exists, which is kind of the same thing. So yeah, it's definitely an area I want to see improved in terms of that consistency. And penalties is something we'll come back to later on, because I think Sky Sports were rage baiting us earlier. So no one's improving Verstappen spins. We got a brilliant looking grid, I thought, to the race. We had Norris on pole, Leclerc on second, Piastri in third, despite not getting that final lap. And again, I don't know about you, I was looking at it thinking, this grid is shaped up so well for this race. But what I wasn't encountering on or thinking would happen was that Piastri would lead at the end of lap one. How many air punches were you doing as he led?
I span around in my living room about 6 times, screaming. I was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god!" And I before that, I'd had like the worst day. Like everything was going wrong. Everything. I sat down to watch the F1, almost like upset with like the day. And then that happened, lap one. It was like everything didn't matter. So yeah, when that happened, it was great. And my opinions on, you know, Oscar is, I feel like he always has it in him. I feel like he hasn't been as fast as he was last year in comparison to like Lando, for example. They're pretty much neck and neck. But I feel like this year he's dropped off a little bit. I don't know if that's to do with the new cars, their style of driving with them, that sort of thing. But I feel like he still has it in him. I feel like he will come back.
The big thing that I was talking about all last year was that Norris's racecraft, I felt, was always less than Piastri's. I think Piastri won something like the first 2 or 3 overtake of the month, and they were all moves where he had to nail the overtake, whether it be for a point or 2 in Australia or for the race win in Saudi Arabia. When you put him in that point where it's okay, now or never, he goes now.
Both on a 7-time world champion, by the way.
I forgot. Do you know what? I remembered both passes and forgot that the second one was Lewis Hamilton as well.
Yeah.
And he was putting moves this weekend as well. They renamed turn 2 Hamilton turn, but I thought it should be turn 5 because I think he went round think it was Liam
Oh,
Lawson.
the
Who found the
outside
F5.
of yeah.
I thought that's just phenomenal. That's just so Lewis Hamilton. Just like, okay, fine, I haven't got you where everyone else is getting you. I'm just going to get you somewhere else. So yeah, Piastri's got that dog in him. We keep bringing up dogs in this episode.
Yeah, no, it's
why.
a running theme here. It's great.
Yeah, I love it. You said Piastri's like next door. Enjoyed his treats. I'll have to meet him another time.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll arrange it.
Now's a really good time to say to people, if you don't already follow Brendon, somehow, if you're not one of the people that follows Brendon, you absolutely must, because that Papastri content, not only your content, but Papastri's as well, is absolutely absolutely.
I mean, my main thing that I'm sort of like not pivoting to, but sort of realigning myself to, is I just want to make content that makes others laugh or be happy. That's my main overarching goal now. Is not to go here or do that or be there. It's to just make people happy. And if I make people happy and good things come of it, great. But if not, if I know, I mean, I'll take it back to this one message I receive. Always sits with me, and I'll share it with you, because I don't think I've shared this before. Maybe I shared it on my story, but sorry, I got a message off of a woman on Instagram who said to me that her little boy, he's very quiet, he's mute, he has autism, and he rarely ever speaks. He doesn't really speak at all at home, but the only time he does is when they play my F1 dog tricks. She sent me a video of him replaying it over and over and over again, Oscar doing his dog tricks and stuff like that. And that is the reason why I do it. That's like, what I want to make content for, because, knowing I make someone happy like that is amazing.
That is beautiful. I absolutely love it. I'm going to have to, well, I don't know if you post it out. I'm going to have to go and hunt that down. If it is out there, I will go.
Yeah, I think it was on a story once, but I might post it as a video once. Actually, I think I might have done a post. It was about a year ago, so.
Go and track it down. I as you say, it's to go and make people happy, isn't it? You do, and it really comes across in what you do. I was saying beforehand, you're an influencer, but you're not one of those. They get a bit of a stereotype, don't they? Sometimes they go, oh, it's stories come out and they go, oh, it's one of those influencers. But I love that you're out there just enjoying what you do, doing your own stuff, and you were talking as well to me about building a community as well. And as I say, I got to thank you, for listening to people on your stories 2 weeks ago saying you should do more podcasting. God, who could that have been? And this is testament to you, for the fact that you don't just say, yeah, sure, I'll do a podcast, but then you're actually here.
Yeah.
It's always been the way. If you get a message off me, you'll reply and normally say, oh, bloody hell, it's Perry again. But
I get told off for it sometimes, because I try to reply to every single message I receive. I mean, there's some obviously I don't, but like, if somebody's taken the time to drop me a message to say like, oh, this is so cool, or oh, I love that, or whatever. Same with comments. If you look at my posts, you can go back months and months and months and months. I reply to every single comment. Even if I've got hundreds, I reply to every single one. And I've always kept that.
Time it must take. The time must take to do that as well. It's special, when you get that reply, you sort of go, oh, they have noticed that I've commented on that little bit for them. They do that little bit back. So you're very interactive. You're a great person to follow for that reason. You're building a community of people around you that are very like-minded and enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it shows. So I thought I'd do that little bit of a plug for my 5 listeners or so that I'm sure 4 of them already follow you, because I've got a few, and it's not about the numbers. Of course, it's just about enjoying what we do. So I thought I'd say that little bit.
Thank you.
But we were talking about you having a really good day. Piastri is leading this Grand Prix, and we get towards the first stops. We're going to talk about what happens behind them in a little bit. But Piastri has to, and Norris have to react to what's going on behind them. They're under threat from Verstappen and Hamilton, who've stopped early. So after that first stop, of course, Norris maintains second behind Piastri, and he's putting them under a lot of pressure. Now, I'm more of a McLaren fan. A 1-2 for me is dreamland, whether it be Piastri ahead or Norris ahead. But I felt, and as you said, Norris has had better pace this year. I do feel like these cars, as much as we dog on them a bit, dogs come up again, as much as we dog on these new cars, they are moving a lot more, and it does feel like they're more towards a driver style. We've seen Hamilton getting the better of Leclerc. We've seen Verstappen. It's difficult to judge, isn't it, with Hadjar? But we've seen drivers more in line with their teammates, and also those differences between their driver styles. So I've just felt Norris has got that little bit extra, and we saw that play out in the race. But this is Hungary. Yeah. This is Monaco without the walls. So as we approach the second stop, so you thinking, now Piastri's, whatever Norris can throw at him, Piastri's got this covered.
Mm-hmm. So I thought this the entire race, and relating it to Monaco is a good point. All of the work, the overtake Piastri did at the beginning of the race earned him the right to, not the race win, but to the choices at the pit stops, if that's the way McLaren want to do it all the time, you know, it earned him that right. And he did the hard work. He got the race start done. He did the overtakes. So then when it comes to, you know, who's the net race leader, I feel like Norris 100% had better pace. But if he did, he had every single right to overtake him, and he couldn't. And the reason he couldn't is because Oscar made that good start. Lando was in P1. He had every right to, you know, stay ahead and be ahead of Piastri, especially because he wasn't just behind him; he was third as well. But he didn't, you know. So I feel like you can have all the pace in the world, but if you can't overtake somebody, then you know you haven't got the pace.
And I think it started to show. Those radio messages were getting a bit more frantic. Like you've got to, almost like you've got to help me, or I'd have bags of pace if you let me through. And it's like,
yeah.
I've always maintained, as I said, I almost don't mind who's leading, who's second. We've got a 1-2. Let's maintain that. But more so than that, I do like that McLaren typically let them race within papaya rules. And of course, the first time we look at a 1-2 and everyone's bringing up papaya rules, you know, bloody papaya rules. Why can't we just have those 1-2s back and just everyone enjoy it? But then we hear that call, don't we? Norris saying, well, let me pit then. Let me do something. Let me undercut him. And as you say, Piastri's earned that right. They turn around to him and say, negative, Lando. Piastri then comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Lando just said, okay, give me 10 laps. I'll overcut him without tyres. And I mean, we were denied, weren't we, seeing this by the Carlos Sainz incident, unfortunately. So this is.
I mean, look how close they still were when Lando came out of the pits. I mean, he put like a massive stint in, and obviously by that point Oscar's tires were old, Lando had fresher ones, so there was no way he was getting back ahead. But if the Sainz incident hadn't happened,
do you know what, in my head, the first time I watched it, I thought he cost him about a second and a half, and in my head Lando emerged like 3 seconds ahead, so I was like, no, he was getting past him ahead. I rewatched it when I was writing the notes for this. I rewatched it, and it was 0.8 that they came out of turn one together, and I was like, damn, no, he really cost him that track position. The question I have for you, because I almost want to answer it myself, but I'm going to post it. You get first dibs on this. Lando emerges second behind Piastri with that 6-lap delta, I think it was, the you know, fresher tyres. I'm guessing I know your answer, but you still backing Piastri to win it from there?
Yeah, I do, because even when there was a lap where I was really worried, and I think Lando was 0.4 behind Piastri. This is when they're on equal tyres, and he was 0.4 behind, and he's still down the main straight, couldn't catch him and overtake. And I feel like if you're that close to a car and can't overtake, I don't think it ever would have happened. Maybe if we had a Verstappen-esque like he did to Hamilton, dive bomb overtake, you know, classic Verstappen, maybe if something like that happened. But do you think Pyro would have allowed that? I don't think so. Very similar to last year in Hungary, where Oscar actually apologised for doing something like that, where he locked up and nearly went into the back of Lando. So I don't feel like it would have happened. I genuinely don't.
See, I posted up saying I think whatever happened, Norris was coming through.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know. The big shame for me is that we were denied seeing it.
Yeah.
That's the be all and end all. And we'll go back to the Carlos Sainz thing a bit then, about whether that should have ever happened. You know, they were battling tooth and nail, but Carlos was getting blue flags before the final corner. So he's gone down the start straight. He's gone through that final corner. He's gone through turn 1, blue flags. He should be aware. It's a bright orange car.
Yeah.
He should be aware that he's not racing the McLarens. I mean, I know he's in a fight. I think it was with Alonso.
Alonso, yeah.
So again, talking about how good that car is, we're going to come back to that in a minute. He's fighting with Alonso. I kind of get it, but he has to be aware.
I don't actually know this, but I mean, I know everyone should always fight for their positions, no matter if they're in the points or not. But do you know what places they were in at the time? I don't actually know this.
I mean, he in Oscar's view, he sort of went, "Oh, they were fighting over last," but he probably saw the Williams and Aston Martin thought that. But I think it was for something like 15th or 16th. And as you say, like if you're a racing driver and you're racing for 15th, and you're turning around and going, "No, I'm just going to give up on it because it's only 15th or 16th." Yeah. We spoke a little bit about Alonso maybe doing that, and Hamilton doing that a little bit. But if you're not racing for 15th, get out the car and give it to the reserve driver who absolutely frigging would race for 15th. Yeah. I fully back Sainz racing at this point. I don't quite agree with Piastri saying, "Oh, they're racing over nothing." Like, could have been there once racing in that position. And you know full well that you have to go.
And he will be one day. He will be in that position. You know, it will happen. If McLaren, I mean, hopefully these upgrades have done as well. But if we're anything like, you know, before these new regs, then, you know, the sponsorless car with the blue on it, you know, they were in probably Aston Martin's position. They were exactly where Aston Martin were now. And look where they are. You know, things change very quickly. But the thing, I mean, he lashed out over the radio, and I think understandably so in the moment. They're racing hard. There was a lot of blue flags, and I do feel like he should have seen them and backed off, because Alonso would have had to let him through as well. So then by that time, he could have brought back up to him. I just feel like if you're under blue flags, I mean, isn't the rule you have to move out the way by the second blue flag?
Third blue flag. So he was on like his 5th.
Yeah, so that is what baffles me. There should be a penalty for that alone, let alone for the collision. It should happen a lot earlier. Yes, you should fight for your positions, but also you got to understand where you are. And if a race leader's coming through, you can't like impact that.
No, I think it was Verstappen as well, talking about it in the cool down room, saying, why is he trying to make the move there? And I thought it was very funny that go back to, I think it was 2019, maybe 2020, where he'd lost that win in Brazil because he went fighting a back marker. It was on that day, obviously trying to go through him. But I thought someone's learned a lesson. What he's doing. But it's tough, isn't it? As I literally said earlier on, he's a now or never driver, Piastri, and it was now. You know, he's racing a back marker. He thinks, I've got to go now because otherwise that gives Lando half a second. You can't give a driver like Lando Norris, world champion Lando Norris, you can't give him half a second because he'll absolutely take it. So it was unfortunate, but not quite as unfortunate as Piastri's end of the race. We're going to get through this quick. Have you got your emotional support car? Because we're going to talk. He's
about right here. Don't you worry. Let's see if we can get it on camera. There he is. Yeah.
Hopefully the gearbox is in one piece, unlike.
Yeah, I mean, this one is still moving, which is great. But yeah, that was just the cherry on top, wasn't it?
It was. The only silver lining I had was that sitting there going, McLaren had a 1-2 in the bag. They had race winning pace and almost dominant winning pace as well. And I did think if Oscar had driven home to second, I think he would have been a lot more angrier than he was. I kind of hoped it would put a bit of a damper, like going, the gearbox is the worst thing that happened.
Yeah.
Not the fact that Lando got through me, whatever way it happened. And he said afterwards, I'm not angry at Lando, I'm not angry at the team, because all the comments were very much angry at the team and Lando for getting it wrong. But it was tough. And I thought in that moment, not only have we lost the 1-2, we've lost Piastri, but I also thought this could lose Lando's win.
Yeah.
And we saw a VSC and I thought, oh no, if that turned into a full safety car, I was like, that's the end of his win. And we're gonna move on because I could see there's like a tear in your. I'm gonna move on from this.
Yeah.
There's a tear in mine. I'll take the pain for you. I'm a bit older. I'm allowed to be that little bit more emotional. It impacts the race that was going on behind, and this was a phenomenal dogfight that I haven't really got into just yet. But Verstappen does almost the Piastri. He comes from quite far back. I think he was fourth on the grid. We're all talking about that Ferrari start, and it's Verstappen that gets up. And again, as a McLaren fan, I'm thinking, excellent. He's going to chew up his tire. Watching him go through that final tire, I thought that final turn, thought he's chewing up his tires. Brilliant. He can hold everyone else up. But it was a brilliant fight, wasn't it, between him and the Ferraris, and eventually Antonelli as well joining that fight. It was awesome, wasn't it? And you've already mentioned the Verstappen Hamilton move as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's such an art to like back marker overtakes, because I see them time and time again where somebody's used the overtaking of a back marker to catch somebody out. Because from what happened in this specific situation, you see Hamilton go past the back marker. He's like, right, Verstappen now has to get past the back marker, so I've got a few seconds. Absolutely not. He looks to his right, and there's the blue car of Verstappen. He's like, what? I feel like he really caught him off guard and did not expect it at all. I feel like, he thought he had a few extra seconds and did not.
No, he absolutely did catch him off guard. And if you're going to overtake Lewis Hamilton, 100% the best way to do it is catch him off guard. It was funny then to hear Verstappen's comment afterwards of he moved under braking. I'm gonna throw it to you first. Again, I just want to answer this first, but moving under braking, agree, disagree?
Well, in that particular situation, I think he was just he was already past the braking zone and going towards the apex. I don't think he actually moved under braking. But I think Verstappen, his point is, I don't know, I'll have to watch it a few more times, but where they overtook the back marker, it's like Lewis sort of came closer to the apex and then Verstappen came down. So like, I don't know. I don't think so in this situation.
I agree. I don't think it was either. It was like he was going in to take the apex. As you say, he'd done with braking. It was almost, if it was moving under braking, it was moving left in a right-hander to brake again, to be like, whoa, what's that coming up? Oh, it's a 4-time champion. Not going to give this up. And as they pointed out in commentary, you know, this same move happened last year, but it ended up with Verstappen up in the air saying to his team, oh, I can't believe Hamilton's done that. And his engineer, GP, coming over saying, let's talk about this after the race, or let's not talk about this. Kind of like, no, we think for a change, you're in the wrong.
Yeah.
That's how easily it can be on a knife edge, these moments, can't it? You either look Verstappen the hero or Verstappen the villain. But either way, the fact that he does these moves just makes him a brilliant driver, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I just think he always pulls it out the bag somehow. Every single time he pulls it out of the bag, and I don't know how he does it. But I do genuinely believe you could give him a midfield car and he'd still be fighting up there. I feel like he would extract every single ounce out of that car. Not to say that the other drivers aren't, but I just feel like he has this talent that sometimes beats hard work. Think like, you know, Messi, Ronaldo. Messi doesn't look like, he does obviously, but it doesn't look like he tries hard at all, but somehow he just performs these incredible things time and time again. And you're like, how does he keep doing this? I don't understand it. I feel like Verstappen is in the same sort of thing.
I always think that, go back to that statement of form is temporary, class is permanent.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I think you're getting at, that there's so many strings that Formula One drivers are pulling. And I've said this about Hamilton time and time again as well, that him arriving at Ferrari is not just about what he does behind the wheel, but when he walks into the design team, when he walks into the simulator, or at the moment doesn't walk into the simulator, whatever department he goes into, he makes changes and fundamentally makes it his team. And Verstappen has fully done that with Red Bull. It's his team and they're all working for him. Now they're working for Hajar, and they've got someone that can support that as well. I think the Red Bull team is a very ominous, dangerous beast at the moment. I fully expected them to struggle this year with the new power unit, with the new rules, and losing as many top people as they did. I did not expect to see them in this fight, and yet here they are every week in, week out. Verstappen grabbing the banner and pulling this team forward and going, no, we will be in this fight. They're
Yeah,
right at the front.
and obviously F1 is full of rumors, right? But I did see one rumor about Laurent Mekies very much coming into the team and saying this is an equal team now. We do not develop one car towards one person because they drive a certain way, and we'll give both drivers equal opportunities the entire time. Maybe if upgrades come in for the cars, they might go to Verstappen first or whoever's leading the championship. But this is not the same as it was the last however many years. It's gonna change now. Maybe that is not to discount Hajar, but maybe that is why they are a little bit more equal now. I feel like Hajar is having an incredible season, doesn't get rated enough. I mean, without the Gasly thing, you know, he did get a podium in Monaco as well. I feel like he's one of the most underrated rookies that are out there.
I absolutely agree. Again, it was another one where he gets moved up to Red Bull and you go, no, he wants to stay at Racing Bulls. He doesn't want that downgrade. He's the first driver since Ricciardo really that's been able to sit next to Verstappen and actually show what he can do.
Yeah.
The story I keep coming back to about Laurent Mekies at Red Bull was that first race that he arrived at, and he said, why are the specifications of cars different? It was obviously Verstappen and Tsunoda at the time.
Yeah.
He says, I was told we've got 2 updates. And they went, yeah, one's on Verstappen's car and the other one's in the trailer in case Verstappen breaks his car.
Yeah.
And he demanded and said, no, if he breaks his car, he breaks his parts, he'll use the old ones, get them on Tsunoda's car.
Yeah.
And like, it just makes sense, doesn't it? If Verstappen doesn't crash his car, you've got 2 with the 2 updates. You've got all the data, twice as much data coming off the cars. It just makes sense, doesn't it? You know, but the fact that that's what the team were doing beforehand just baffles me.
Yeah.
So many people
almost gives him a license to crash. Like, you know, he knows. Oh, even if I do, I've got another part. We can just put it on.
That's it. So yeah, it's great to see, and he got a P2 out of this, maybe assisted by the VSC towards the end, but somehow. I almost don't know how Antonelli joins them on the podium. Now, we know, obviously, Piastri should have been up there.
Yeah.
Not that we're biased in any way, but he absolutely should have been. And instead, it's Antonelli who had a bit of a distant race, didn't he? There was a couple of times where it looked like Mercedes were going to trigger a one-stop, and everyone's just wary of this one-stop. It didn't happen, and it looked like they were just off the pace. I mean, I don't know how much you go into data and delve into like why you think someone's race pace is off, but any theories from you why they felt like their race pace was just that little bit off this weekend?
I mean, I guess a lot of cars are tailored for different things. People have spoken about the Mercedes energy and engine package being one of the strongest on the grid. But this is a track where there's so much regen into the engine. There's so much power that is available to them the entire race because they can pretty much be on the limit the entire time. So maybe it was just one of these tracks where that, you know, power difference that they have or the regen that they have wasn't so prevalent because everybody had the same level. And maybe that is why. Maybe it just shown, you know, the true pace of that Mercedes we seen. But because on other tracks like Spa, for example, they were able to regen a little bit more because of, you know, how they're running the car or whatever. It gives them that tiny little edge that the others don't quite have yet or haven't developed yet. So maybe Hungary was just an exposure of that.
We'll have to see in Zandvoort, won't we? But it hurts to say in 4 weeks' time.
Oh, don't.
It just gets worse and worse. So talk about Piastri. I said move on.
My last memory of F1 for 4 weeks is that happening.
We'll have to do something in the meantime. We'll just all be like playing the F1 game or going to F1 arcades and just doing something. I'm sure there's other racing. I'm still going to be. I've got to find something to talk about for 4 weeks. So I'm going to find other racing series out there, I'm sure, that are still going. And
Formula E is I'm going to be turning my head to that for a little bit.
Yeah, the finale in London, double header. Mm-hmm. My first year not going, I went the last 2 years and had a phenomenal time. But not that I'm McLaren biased, but when they dropped out, I kind of decided, would I go, wouldn't I go? And honestly, it's one of the best. If you have considered going to the London E Prix or going, you're going to have a fantastic time. But if you
I
are on
want
the
to,
edge,
so I'm
absolutely go.
considering doing it.
It's one of the best value for money tickets. Kid you, like the so if you know the XL London at all,
Yeah,
half of it is like the fan village, and half of it is the grandstands and the track. And
yeah,
they put on so much simulators and the works. And best of all, unless you're buying food, obviously they charge for that.
yeah.
Everything is free.
That's so good.
Merch as well, but they put on so much for free. There's seating areas. Just do it. Don't differ anymore. Just buy tickets.
Oh, I'm booking it. I'm doing it. I'm going to book it now.
I say that like I've already got my tickets, but as I say, the difference of driving all that way, I'd love to. I really would, but I think the wife would divorce me again if I was like.
I'll try and push your case.
Yeah, I need to sell it as like a family trip, and when my family don't want to go with me, it's very difficult to do. Anyway, we talk about the Hungarian Grand Prix in better times. So, the final thing from that other fight to talk about that was going on was the Hamilton speeding in the pit lane. I said about Sky Sports F1 rage baiting it because they posted that it was 0.1 kilometers an hour over the speed limit. Oh, what a travesty! Brendon, give us your view. It's speeding, right?
Yeah, so there always has to be a limit somewhere. Okay, so you can't get, it's probably a really bad analogy, but like 4 numbers on the lottery and not get the 5th one and say, well, I've got 4. Like, there has to be a limit somewhere, and there always has to be like a line drawn. There's so many things you can relate this to in life. Like,
I think what happens was you can't be a little bit pregnant.
Yeah. You either are over the limit or you're not, but because then if they go, oh, okay, well, there's a 0.2 allowance, then somebody will be on 0.3 and they'll be like, oh, well, I was only a little bit over. Like, it's the same we're doing now. They'll do the exact same things. There has to be a limit, and that's it.
That's it. That's end of debate. That's perfectly explained. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe all the fact. I know Hamilton has suffered quite a few penalties. He got the one in qualifying. He got the one in Belgium. And, almost like sports fans' memories are very short. They look and go, oh, hang on. He's had 3 penalties in 2 weekends. Oh, they're clearly picking on him. And I think his comment was the one I'd highlight, where he said, I need to stop giving the stewards reasons to give me penalties. And that's just it. If he came off the button early or he didn't get on it quite quick enough, then, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? But 0.1, as you say, is over the limit. And if they allow 0.1, they'd all do 80.1 down that pit lane. Absolutely assured. So,
and this is a sport where, people are separated by 0.1s in qualifying and sometimes coming out of the pits and all of that sort of stuff. So 0.1, that could be the difference of a lead.
Absolutely could be. And given that he came out literally side by side with Antonelli as well, just goes to prove that. And I thought fair play to Ferrari for catching up and saying, let him back through, and avoided what would have possibly been yet another penalty that people would have raged about in the comments, I'm sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Ferrari strategy has been, every now and then you see flickers of the past, but I feel like it's been pretty bang on this season so far. I feel like they've done a good job. One of the best things that happened was them swapping Adami out and getting Hamilton's new engineer. I feel like that's been really good.
Yeah, I started to notice, I think last year even, I said, we used to get, Ferrari used to have that term, didn't they? Like, oh, it's Ferrari strategy again. The memes of the clown wall and they're all wearing red. And they bested McLaren 2 or 3 times in a row. No matter what McLaren did, Ferrari bested them on pure strategy. And I thought back then, I was like, okay, this is a different team. This is as much as the drivers will sort of comment and say, look, you make up your own minds, go and have tea or whatever it is they're saying week in, week out. They are working towards having much better strategies. And it very nearly paid off. I was surprised that they started on softs, but again, that worked out pretty well, apart from not getting the start they expected, but being able to hold on to everyone else in their mediums. So the midfield, and I just want to talk about this a little bit. I know time's getting on, people have stopped listening long ago, but I want to talk about the midfield a little bit behind that, because I noted at one point, I took pictures of the timing stack, because what we had was behind the top 8 drivers in the top 4 teams, the Racing Bulls and the Audis mixing it. Just behind them, you had Alpine and Aston Martin, and we started talking about Aston Martin. We said we'd come back to it, and here it is. They're ahead of the Haas and Williams fight that's going on behind them. Oh, both Cadillacs are out by this point. You know, their brakes have been used up pretty quickly, because if there's anything a Cadillac likes, it's setting its brakes alight. But the fact that they jumped, you know, we spoke how good their qualifying performance was, but race pace is something altogether. In Belgium, Alonso was a minute back from Bottas, I think it was, who was a minute back from the rest of this fight. Suddenly they jump up, they're racing Alpines, who at one point were occupying that best the rest spot that they've now seemingly given up. So again, just confirming, really, that upgrade was a heck of an upgrade. They were up there, and it wasn't just Alonso either taking the fight. Stroll had somehow made his way up from 20th on the grid to be in that fight as well with Alpine. So
I think it's a welcomed upgrade. Now, I don't think they're, maybe the other teams, but I don't think there's anybody that is an F1 fan that I know of that didn't welcome them doing better as well. I think it's really nice to see. I think I seen something over the weekend that said if they entered this race and were X amount under the rest of the grid, then they wouldn't be able to compete going forward. And I was like, it's really that bad? Like, that is crazy. Like, they're that slow. But it's good to see them back.
This was a team that start, pre-season testing. We're all waiting for that car to finally roll down the pit lane. Any Adrian Newey car's beautiful, right? Any Adrian Newey car's quick. It's just whether it's got the reliability to go the distance. And luckily they got 2 cars to the finish. I wasn't sure it'd go that way when the car rolls out FP1. We're all waiting to see how it goes, and then the suspension brakes on Stroll's
straight away.
He's done another fast but fragile car here. But no, glad to see they both finished. So I'll quickly run through the order, and then I've got 2 final questions for you before we can get out of here. So our podium was Norris, Verstappen, Antonelli. As I say, how we ended up with Antonelli there, it was a brilliant recovery from him. Leclerc got Hamilton after his 5-second penalty, with Hadjar following up ahead of Russell. Russell had a bit of a stinker after that start. We didn't really mention it, but just a really bad start off the line, put him down in the doldrums. And then strategy at Mercedes was a bit lapse, I think, to really give him anything to fight back with. Lawson, Hulkenberg, and Lindblad finishing out the points. Points for Hulkenberg, because he hadn't had any points before this weekend, so that was good to see. And Bortoleto in that much hated 11th spot. Gasly, Stroll, Alonso, Colapinto. So Stroll actually finished ahead of Alonso. I hadn't picked up on, even as I wrote the notes, even as I wrote the name, I hadn't picked up that Stroll actually finished ahead of Alonso, even as I was talking about it. And then Colapinto behind him. Ocon, Albon, Sainz, Behrman with a bit of a race to forget as well. And we even saw a bit of that. It was quite nice to see the TV director at some point put a Haas on the main screen. So well done, race director, for remembering that other cars exist.
Yeah, and I feel like, people talk a lot about making F1 exciting again. I feel like it would be so exciting to watch more of these midfield battles. There's so many, like Colapinto's overtake, that deserved to be primetime viewing for everybody, and it was on a small screen at the side. And like, I remember watching it on the small screen as it was happening. I was like, oh my God, he's going to do all of it. He's done it. And I was like cheering at this small box while something was going on the main screen. And I can't remember who put the clip out, but they were filming literal grass. They were just filming the grass. And I was like, why are they not showing these incredible midfield battles? Like, there's so many good ones. I mean, Lawson and Lindblad, their battles together are incredible as well. Like, them two racing each other is really good to watch.
I mean, Verstappen commented on that. He said, what a pair of idiots. But I agree, their racing was really good. And he just wasn't impressed because they were doing it in front of him. I think he wanted blue flags. But proof is, you say that the grass is always greener when you're not looking. Oh,
yeah, that was bad. I would make really a dog pun and say we should pause there.
Oh, there you go.
I like it.
I'm a dad. I'm allowed to. Oh, you're, of course, dad's a passion. Of course. I'm dad to a daughter, so I don't get to call her like fun names as you did. I was trying to think of puns on the way home for what she could be, but No, she's just an Emilia, and there's no.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it when the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix is on. I go, look, there's
Oh,
a
that's
race named
good. I
after you.
like that.
But she hates Formula One, so let's not talk about her.
There's still time. There's still time.
Always time. Two questions, then. I always finish with these two questions. I want your driver of the weekend and your highlight of the weekend, please.
Okay, so obviously I can't say who I want for driver of the weekend.
You can. You absolutely can.
Well, if all went to plan, then it would 100% have been Oscar. I feel like he had an amazing start. He drove a great race from there. But I feel like I'm very biased, so I want to pick somebody else for the rest. Who do I go with? This is going to be a rogue one because he absolutely did not deserve to be there, but was. But I'm going to say Antonelli because everything that seems to happen at the minute, he always finds his way back there. And like I can't remember the specific quote, but world champions are built from, always finding a way. No matter what happens, you always find a way to get those points, to get them in, to finish in those positions. And there he was once again. I do, as much as I want it to be Hamilton, if it was between the two, I do genuinely feel like Antonelli is going to take this unless something drastic changes with the cars. I feel like it's his to lose now. But there's been bigger point swings in F1 before, so there's a lot of the season left to go.
He's only 19. I think he's younger than you, which says a lot. Like you're much younger than me, and I'm looking at him thinking he's like almost half my age. It's ridiculous that he's leading a championship. Just ridiculous. He should be like throwing sticks at I don't know what the teenagers are doing these days.
Yeah,
but it's as you say. Like I said this. I'm not a big Premier League football fan, but it's obviously dominates the office talk quite often.
Yeah,
and I always say to people that where your team ends up is not on the days where you win 6-0. If you win, you win. It's the days where you're 2-0 down, but by the end of the match, it's 2-2 draw. That one point is what makes the difference at the end of the season.
Because everything adds up, right?
The game. That's what Antonelli did. He lost. He was losing, staring in the battle of loss, and there he is picking up silverware.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how. You just gotta keep on doing, right? And he's doing exactly that.
My highlight is a rogue one. It's actually going to be the radios.
Okay.
My highlight of the weekend is the amount of things that were said over the radio. I mean, we had so much stuff. We had the Lando and Oscar stuff. We had the Verstappen moaning and complaining. Like, I don't know. It just felt like a classic weekend of radio messages. So, yeah, probably be my highlight. There was so much memeable content that came from the Hungary Grand Prix. So.
I can't remember the quote. I was going to look it up. I was going to put it in the notes. The one to Leclerc with the rhythm. You must stay in the rhythm.
Oh, yeah, you must stay in the rhythm. I've already seen some great videos about that, where it's Leclerc dancing. He's like this. He's like, how do I do it? How do I stay in the rhythm? What rhythm?
I watched That's About F1. She does a great
I love her.
Partner do a great review, and without sound, I just saw her doing this, and I thought, I know what that bit is. It's so good. So my driver of the weekend, I was good. Do you know what? I was going to do exactly what you did and go, do you know what? I can't say who I was going to say because I'm apparently biased as well. I was going to say Norris. I thought it was phenomenal weekend. So I'm going to, if I can't say Norris, I'm going to go for Max Verstappen for putting it second. As I said, I thought he was going to chew his tyres. He, like Antonelli, just instead had answers to everything that was thrown at him.
Yeah.
There was a lot of complaining. There was a lot of talk, the damping's something. There was a lot of asterisks. I'm pretty sure he said poo. On the radio. Another memeable one. He wasn't particularly happy, but he just dragged that result of the car. And it's good to see him actually happy in the cool-down room as well, even with second place. Like we spoke a bit about my silly season prediction that he's off at the end of the season. But if he's enjoying what he's doing and seeing him out of the car like that and happy, then I suspect I'm wrong, and we will see him next year. And my highlight of the weekend was upgrades, because McLaren brought one and they went to the top. Aston Martin obviously brought one and they jumped. And it's just the fact that there is now proof for me that in F1 2026, if you do the work, if you bring the upgrades, they are tangible directly to your results. And I think that's brilliant to see that any team can affect their position, which I think kind of explains Haas as well. Like, we get to see any real update on this car that was getting like 6th place finishes at the start of the year. They're now fighting at the back. So yeah, it's upgrades. If it sounds silly, but in Formula One, if you want to go forwards, bring upgrades.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's also the teams that get it right as well. It seems every time McLaren do bring an upgrade, it works straight away, which is really nice to see, because I do see teams that bring upgrades, they put them on, and they don't even use them for the weekend because they just haven't worked the way they wanted, and they've gone back to an older race spec car. And I'm like, I'm so glad that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the ominous things, isn't it? That they brought a Macarena wing to this weekend. Test it's quite normal. Test something like that, FP1. Take the data back to base with you and go, should we use that? They've now got 4 weeks to mention the 4 weeks again. They've got 4 weeks to decide whether to use it. That's going to be ominous. If it brings the performance that it obviously warrants, the fact that they're all developing this Macarena wing, then
I'll bring up something that my great tour guide at the is it the AMRC or the AMC, the Aston Martin technology, so I don't know if you can call it that, but yeah, at the Aston Martin headquarters, the very first thing the tour guide said to me was, forget about us being an F1 team. What we are is we're just one big R&D company. We do research and development. But what do most people get to do with research and development? They get to test their kit in a real life circumstance. They get to go and test and test and test and test and test. The first time we can test anything that we design or think of or create is when it's on the track. That's the first time we can test it. So when you see it, it's the first time we see it. Actually, is it working? Is it not? And that just spun so much more. Like, I was like, whoa. It just brought this like massive like insight into like these things that they work on. They're only going to see if they work when they're actually there and it's on the car and everyone's watching. So no wonder these things go wrong, right?
Absolutely. I'm myself, I'm a design engineer day to day. And funny enough, I'm working on something at the moment, which you can run it through FEA. You can run it through all the simulations and it can tell you whether it works or not. Until you actually build it, you don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm still designing this thing at the moment, going, the FEA is on the edge. Like, there's red zones, like it might break. And I'm like, but I'm going to put confidence in the fact that when you build it, it won't.
Yeah.
And the first time it gets tested, I'm going to be very much like that. Like Adrian Newey probably was at the back of that garage going, please, my God, I've got 30 years of F1 pedigree resting on this. Please don't let it fail, and everyone doubt that I'm a bit of a failure. But absolutely,
no, you're not.
So it's got to be tangible. It's got to work on the track, and I love that as well. I love that thought that it's R&D, because I'm forever telling my wife when she says, "Oh, Formula One's just driving around in circles," I'm forever telling her, no, they're developing stuff for the road cars as well, and it's got to go there. Things like start-stop technology start in Formula One. So they're doing this sustainable fuels this year. It's all
massive one
coming from R&D, and we just get to enjoy and watch it racing.
And maybe even, Formula E has got to be a massive development for EVs these days, and like their technology behind it. And we hear inklings of BYD joining the grid at some point, possibly maybe being a technical partner, I believe they were going to call it, to an existing team rather than being an additional one, providing insights from their EVs to help with the electrification of F1. And there's so much of that coming in, can only do better. That it's things from spaceships now that they've taken from F1. There's so much stuff because there's so much money poured into it for research and development. So
really exciting stuff. Yeah, it's interesting to think of Formula One in 30 years, where it'll be, and just day-to-day life where it'll be, thanks to F1 as well, in the flip side of that. So Brendon, only question for me after saying thank you is, where can people go and find your content?
So same with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I wish I could get rid of the underscore, but I can't. It's at Brendon Blake underscore. That's with an E and an O. So it's not Brandon, Brendan. It's Brendon Blake underscore. And you'll see me and my little pup doing silly tricks and making memes and hopefully going to a couple more races.
I hope so too. I watch on from my home thinking I love my wife, I love my daughter, but I wish I was out at more tracks. I live vicariously through people like yourself, and absolutely people should go and follow it. The content is absolutely ace, as I say.
Thank you, and also yourself as well. It was lovely to. I mean, we actually met at the MTC of all places. Yes, it's a nice place to tell somebody you met them for the first time. Where'd you meet first? Oh, just at McLaren Technology Centre. And complete caveat: the cookies.
Yes,
still the best cookie I've ever tasted at McLaren. It was amazing. But yeah, I mean, your stuff's amazing as well. So you know, any of my followers are watching this, then make sure you follow here as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm venturing into the reels business. And doing a few more short format. As I was saying beforehand, trying to clip this a bit better. I'll make a few from this and try it out. And as I say, if you're out there looking to make content, and I don't want to flood your DMs, I don't want people messaging you all the time, but you are great. Like if I've got a question, I ask you, and most people be like, no, sod off. Like you're trying to venture into my turf. You're just like, no, I do this. And you showed me like tutorials on it. So
absolutely, and I it was a little while back now, but I always said I'll never be a gatekeeper. If somebody asks me, oh, how did you do this, or what's the contact for here, or what did you do, there's ways you have to go about it, right? I'll be like, I'll pass on your details, I'll do this, because sometimes contacts don't want their info shared, but I'll never not do that. I'll always make sure that, you know, people are aware. There's creators now that are relatively big on Instagram and have been growing massively, that when they had, I think, 1,000 or 2,000 followers, I was sending their details to brands because I was like, their content is great. You should like invite them along to something that I'd already been to, and like you should message them next. You should do that. So like I'm always like trying to do as much as I can, because I feel like good karma always comes back, and it'll always, you know, pay itself back at some point. Not always, but at some point it comes back.
Completely. Even if that's in the form of coming onto this brilliant podcast.
Yeah,
I guess. So thank you. As I said, I was gutted that at the MTC I knew the name Brendon Blake. It was funny, but I didn't know who you were. We even raced. In fact.
No, don't show me it. Don't show
just to wave this in front of your face, because we're still recording. I'm still pretty sure you set the fastest time. You spun on that vital lap, unfortunately, and so
yeah.
I didn't put it on eBay as I said I would on the day, but
I think because I was a creator, I think they were behind there with like what's the Lightning McQueen Cars 2 Fuels. I think I was on the all in all. Yeah, I think I was on that. And they were like ready to press it.
Well, my friend Andy turned around straight away when they said who's competitive. They went, well, he's a sim instructor, and pointed at me and went, no, you're not meant to say that. So I remember sat there driving, and you were sat next to me about here just watching, and I should have known at that point he's watching for tips. And, I taught you all you know. Anyway,
you did.
Brendon, let's get out of here. Brendon, thank you so much for joining me, and if you're listening to this, thank you very much for listening along. Go follow Brendon. If you're not one of the, I don't want to say how many thousand followers, but you've got quite a few. If you're somehow one of the people that follows me and not him, I don't know how that's possible. Absolutely go and follow him. I have one thing you don't have, and that's this hat. So I'm going to sign off wearing the hat, even though
I'm very, very sad about this, but I do still have my emotional support car. So, you know, swings and roundabouts.
So, thank you so much. This has been the Motorsport Review. This has been our Hungarian Grand Prix review. I don't know what I'm doing next week, but I'll be talking something, I'm sure. I've got a week.
Silly season is upon us. There's going to be plenty to talk about.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much. All the very best. Enjoy the rest of your day. This has been the Motorsport Review.